NBA Straya. How are you going? How you going? Are you right? I hope so. It is NBA Straya, and it is Wednesday, Hub Day, December 20, all day. I am your host, James Clements. I'm the editor of a good website. It's called CodeBet. You can find that at codebet.com.au. You can also see my ugly mug on Fox Sports Lab NBA, Fox Sports Lab NFL, CodeBet Daily, all the good stuff. You can also hear, what is it? I'm Not On Cricket Today podcast, all the Football Today podcasts. They're part of our thing. I'm here at Larry Armour Studios. That's right. The CodeBet Studios are taking over today, so I do come home. I'm here to give you all the ins and outs in the NBA and, a little bit of Australia. That's what we do here. But today, awesome day. What do we have? 4 games. We had Morant back and firing. Game winners, not guns. That's what it's all about. Steph nine-eyes the Celtics again because that's what he does. And the Celtics just can't get out of their own way. We'll cover that in the NBA Straya Game Wraps. We've got That's on a Knife, All Made, No Made, Spud of the Night, Better Than Lonzo Ball. We've got we've got the Unpopular Opinion of the Day. We've got OUTBACK Takehouse. We're serving up a flame grilled take. There is a great moment in NBA Straya stat history and a big set of previews for tomorrow. I think there's 10 games. Pretty good. I'll pick and preview each of those. And that'll be it. Because it's a late one already today. So let's fly through this one. Let's get into it. Episode 1009 of NBA Straya. Let's go.
This is Joe Ingles, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
Watch out for the Shaq attack.
You better watch out for the Kenny attack if you're Shaq. They reenacted Kenny shoving him into the tree, and he kind of just fell over into the tree again. But also, you better watch out for the Shaq attack if you're anyone thinking that Draymond can be fixed.
Chuck, you can't fix Draymond don't need to go to counseling. Off the court, that man is fine. Chuck, on the court, I'm going to kill people. Chuck, I'm going to choke you out. What are you going to do? You going to do nothing?
At the end of this, it's a 5-minute going back and forth where Shaq's trying to assert that because Draymond's a psycho on the court who keeps hitting people and choking them out, that's all that matters. It's on the court. He's a good dude off the court. What are we doing here? We're not all Manning? Not all Draymonds? Yeah. He might need to go to counseling to contain his fucking anger and being an absolute dipshit psycho who keeps trying to fucking hurt people on the court. Maybe just having a bit of a chat about that's a good idea, Shaq. Yeah. I did enjoy the end of that. Chuck is like,
Shaq, you can't choke people or punch people in the face.
It's like, Shaq was literally just like,
you can.
What are we doing? Anyway, let's start today's show the way we start every show here at NBA Show with the Daily. Oh, it's a whip around, is it, Jim? Yes. Yes, it is. Torrey Craig has got a right plantar fascia sprain. It's a bit of a rough one. 4 to 6 weeks. He's going to be immobilized. So it's going to be like basically a 2-month injury. Bit of a rough one there for the Bulls. Just because, I don't know, they'd sort of hit like a nice little bit of a stride, and then it all sort of falls apart. You had Dylan Brooks and Ime Udoka fined for their improper language towards the officials. I don't know, maybe the officials wouldn't get called bad names if they were good at their job. Just saying. Inappropriate language. Brooks got fined $35,000. Ime Udoka copped $25,000. Jesus. I'll tell you what, pretty interesting stuff though. Dylan Brooks said after the game, I'm sick of refs being right in front of the play and not making calls, then compiling it with a bailout call like a flop. I ran full speed to get the ball after I made a great play on trying to get a steal. 2 hands are on me. After that, I'm throwing the ball and trying to protect myself and not falling into whatever that was, into the fans or on the bottom of the floor. Yeah, he makes a good point. Like, Dylan Brooks makes a good point. I know. I, for one, am also shocked. But, jeez, these refs. It's like, what are you calling a flop on that call? It was fucking stupid when it happened. And then today we had an absolute Barry Crocker shocker in that Memphis New Orleans game. We'll get to that in a second. But otherwise, not a giant amount of news. We had Ja Morant come back. We'll talk about that game in 1 second. We had, I don't know, some really good games, basically. It was sick. And I enjoyed today, so, got to watch a bunch of hoops, hang out. It's very, very vibing on the Christmassy kind of stuff at the moment, very holiday stuff. Enjoyed this, and you're like, yeah, how good's basketball, though? Just be able to settle in and watch it all. So let's do some game wraps. Game wraps, that's right. Ja Morant. Yeah, I guess you could say I'm back. Bang, bang, Morant is back, baby. That's right. Weird game, the Pelicans. You can never trust them. You can trust them about as much as you can trust Zion's diet. They got up big, did the Pels. They're up 24 in that first half, and it looked over. Like, the Grizzlies are just like, whoa, how do we play together again? Morant was struggling. He was carrying Bane at times as well. Bane was pretty good at second. Well, there was moments where Bane was carrying Ja and Ja was carrying Bane. But Memphis got back into the game, like a nice little run at the end of the second quarter, into the third quarter as well. And it's like, yeah, we're down 13, but they sort of just hit a bit of a groove, and the Pelicans went, look, we're probably fine. Let's try to play defense sometimes, I guess. The last couple of minutes of defense in this game were absolutely garbage, and it made it wildly entertaining. CJ misses a three that's wide open with about 9 seconds left. Ja Morant takes over. He scored 8 straight at a point there in the third, and then took over down the stretch again, which was absolutely gnarly. That's right, it was gnarly. And every time you sort of turn around, you're like, I don't know, put a body in front of Ja. Bro, but it's hard to put a body in front of Ja. It's like, Ja, it's not that difficult. Like, it's a basic tenet of basketball. But Ja Morant basically scored down the stretch. He had the 3 by Triple J. They got them back within 3 after going down 6 with 3.5 minutes to go. Then Ja Morant, free throws. Jaren Jackson, free throws. Ja Morant, bucket. Ja Morant, bucket. Ja Morant, game-winning bucket. It was just down the stretch. They just went back and forth. Skadoosh. That was very cool. But the Pelicans, this is it. They should have won this. They're bigger, more talented, deeper. And the Grizzlies just went, Ja Morant's pretty quick. He's been practicing with the team all season. It's not like he's been injured. He looked a bit gassed at times, but other than that, off he went. And the Pelicans got no one to blame but themselves. He was getting booed. I thought that was weird. It's like, what is it? Like, Josh Giddey, the booing is still a bit fucking strange. Ja Morant, it's even weirder. Boo! For having a gun in your car, which is not illegal if you've got like a permit. And apparently it was a lighter anyway. Amazing. Anyway, look, the Pels, as I mentioned, couldn't get out of their own way in this. He had Spindles Ingram go for 34, 4, and 6. He shot 11 of 18 or whatever. I'm pretty sure it was about 11 or 18. And you have these moments where, like, Spindles Ingram, you're really good. You're getting to the free throw line. God, it'd be nice if you hit a 3 or 2. He hit 1 of 1 from downtown. They've got CJ spacing the floor. And you sort of look at a game like this where, Zion's not going to shoot threes. Spindle's barely doing much. And the Grizzlies' defense was just able to go, all right, just keep him off his spots, and he's not going to fucking spot up from outside 3, and we're okay. So suddenly you've only got a couple of 3-point shooters in your starters. Because, my name is Jonas. He doesn't mind fucking trebucheting a 3 here and there. But, yeah, it just made their offense really sort of look super fucking clunky. Spindles, what are you doing? It was like really strange 34-point outing. I'm just trying to say that. CJ McCollum went 6 of 9. Nice. From 3. He had 18 and 6. The thing is, he didn't hit any other buckets. He was 6 of 11 from the floor. Zion was bad. Oh, Jim, he wasn't that bad. He had that sick dunk. Yeah, that sick dunk came when they were absolutely flying. Bit of downhill skiing vibes with the Pelicans as well. 13 points. Not bad. 5 of 12 shooting. 3 rebounds. Zion. This is a Memphis Grizzlies team that's starting Bismack Biyombo and Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, what are we doing here? How do you get 3 rebounds? Oh, is that a bit of foul trouble, eh? I don't know. It's because you're probably a bit too slow. 22 and 14 for my name is Jonas Valanciunas. He was really good. He also has those moments where you're like, can you give us a bit more? He's like, no, I've given you all I have. He was a +5. CJ was a +5. They lose by 2. Zion was a minus 13 with his 13 points. And the bench was really just brutal. 1 of 7 for Najee Marshall. Grand Theft Alvarado goes 1 of 4, 2 of 6 for Trey Murphy. Dyson Daniels hit a bucket late, but that was it. 1 of 2 from downtown for his 3 points. He was a plus 17. And it felt like every time Dyson, the vacuum Daniels, was out there, good things were happening. Because they were. And then they sort of go away from him and it all falls apart. My vibe is like, okay, CJ McCollum gives you a nice settler. They did look a little bit more dangerous when Dyson was starting next to Herb. Just saying. For the Grizzlies, this was obviously the Ja Morant show. He had 34, 6, and 8. He's going to pop up again in a second. He did go 0 of 5 from downtown. Tough one if you bet on him to hit 1 or 2, I guess. Just saying. 24 and 6 with 3 blocks. Jaren Jackson Jr., 6 of 10 from the floor overall. 11 of 15 to the line. Very impactful with his mate Ja back. 21 for Desmond Bain. And 4 assists. He went 3 and 9 from deep. Otherwise, it was just like you had just enough out there as well. Biyombo had the 8 points. You had Vince Williams hit 3 threes. And Santi Aldama hit a couple as well off the bench early that just sort of kept them within spitting distance. And then they ran home, riding Ja, and the Pelicans shitting down their leg, which became a bit of a vibe for the day too. Because we had three games where teams just shit down their leg. One of them was not Milwaukee versus the Spurs. Oh, actually, before we get to that, Memphis. Now, they started 6 and 19 without Ja. They're now 7 and 19. What's their record going to be when they finish this season? So without Ja, they're 13 games under 500. Now they're 12 games under 500. Do you reckon they can get to 42? Go over 500? It's a big ask. Oof. Anyway, 16 and 12 for the Pels. What are they doing? The Bucks absolutely shit-pumped the Spurs. Jumped out to a massive lead early. Never looked back. Basically put the cue in the rack, and the Spurs made it vaguely close-ish. What was it? 13-point game in the end. 132, 119. The Bucks now 20 and 7. Spurs are 4 and 22. Just keep losing. 22 and 8 for Zach Collins, the man who looks like he owns a Subaru Forester. Sohan had 9, 11 and 8. Just doing his Draymond Green impersonation. And you had 28 for Keldon Johnson. 9 of 13 for him. 12 rebounds. 17 for Devin Vassell and 18 shots. 14 for Trey Jones. But this is a team that's just, without Wembanyama, going nowhere. The Bucks 19 points in the first quarter for Dame. He was awesome. He had 40. Dame Lillard is pretty good. Hits, 40 points for the first time as a Buck. Very cool. And basically that means he flies past the total, what was it, 20,000 points, right? So good on him. It's a lot. 20,000 NBA points is a lot. So good job, Dame. Giannis had a weird game, 11, 14, and 16. It's a triple-double. He shot 4 of 12. He had 2 steals and a block and 3 turnovers, but still pretty good. It's a career-high 16 assists. So, 17 and 4 for Middleton, 23 and 10 for Fighting Bobby Portis, fighting around the world. 14 and 5 for Lopez, but they went 18 and 39 on threes. The Spurs went for 10 for. Good job by the Bucks taking care of business. The Suns did not because they lost in Portland 104-109. Oh, geez, Jim, KD, and Booker must not have played. No, they both played. The Suns were up 16 early in this one too. Up 16 halfway through the third quarter and couldn't buy a 3. Portland just wore them down. Anthony Penny-Simons was awesome in this game. 40 for KD. He had 5 assists. 16 and 28 shooting. Sick dunk late. You're like, oh, they're going to make a run. They just couldn't get stops. Portland just kept scoring. It was gnarly. 26 on 25 shots of Booker. Interesting stuff. Tell ya.
Interesting stuff.
The vibe there, though, is like, where was the help? Where was the help for your Phoenix Suns? And the answer was, it was non-existent. 109, 104, they end up losing because, Nasir Little? Shit. Yusuf Nurkic against old team. I smashed them. No. 9 points on 4 of 11 shooting for the Bosnian Bear. Grayson Allen managed 11 and 9, but shot 5 of 10, including 1 of 5 from downtown. 1 of 5 from downtown, as I mentioned, for Booker as well. And the bench did nothing. 1 of 7 for Eric Gordon, 1 of 7 for Jordan Goodwin. Not great when you got 2 dudes off your bench combining to shoot 2 of 14. Overall, they go 5 of 20 from 3. That's gross! What are you doing, Phoenix? And the Blazers were great. 22 and 4 for Jeremiah Grant. You had DeAndre Ayton He was dominating against his old team, 16 and 15. Do you reckon he had a point to prove? It's like, can you do this every game? He's like, not a fucking chance, mate. I'll do this once every couple of weeks. It's going to be tantalizing. It's going to be annoying. And I'm still going to shoot 6 of 18. Don't get me wrong, Jim. But still, it was a pretty good game. Anthony Penny-Simons, 23 and 7 on 23 shots as well. They weren't efficient, I'll tell you that much. Brogdon had 14. And the two Aussies, the Grim Reaper, the Great Barrier Reef, do-up. He had 3 points. He hit the 1-3 that he took. He only played the 4 minutes. And Matty T had 8 points. He went 2 or 3 from downtown with 2 free throws as well with 3 steals and a block. He's a fucking weapon. Scoot Henderson had 9 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Good to see him and Chauncey Billups sort of constantly talking. Kind of fun. Good win by the Blazers. They're now 7 and 19. The Suns dropped to 14 and 13. The Blazers went 14 and 28 from downtown in this game. And then the big one, Steph Nine Eyes, the fucking Boston Celtics once more. You love to see it. Look, Boston shitting down their legs in a big moment. It's a tradition like no other. It certainly did feel like June 2022 again, I'll tell you that much. 132, the Golden State Warriors win in overtime over your Boston Celtics, who are now 20 and 6. They scored 126 points themselves. They were up big. Weird game of runs. Like, they put the hurt on Golden State early. It was 40 points in the first quarter. Golden State couldn't buy a bucket. Then the second quarter, Boston couldn't buy a bucket. Golden State came roaring back. But it was still, Boston was still up like 65, 62, I think it was at the half. And you're like, yeah, this feels about right. And Boston just couldn't hit buckets when they needed to, it felt like. But they start off that third quarter with a bang and sort of just kept that 11, 12, 13. They got up as much as 16 points in that third quarter. Still up 13 late in the third. Still up 11 in the fourth. And then just shit down their legs quite expertly. So no extreme zinger meal for this one.
Extreme zinger meal.
But they did have Al Horford. And you've got this sort of weird thing where it's like, oh, Al Horford will probably miss tomorrow's back-to-back and we'll sit Zinger in one of them. So we've got one of them for both. And you're like, that's good, I guess. It's not great when you lose this one. But there was just a moment where you have Steph go, well, I've been playing with foul trouble a lot of this game. Clay is keeping us alive. Anyway, fuck it. Bang, off he goes. The Celtics, meanwhile, I don't know how they take that many threes. Never attack Steph with 5 fouls and don't attack the rim time after time after time with the Warriors going, yeah, we're playing small, just FYI. It was hilarious how bad the Celtics played this game. They took 58 threes and they got to the line 17 times. Steph had 5 fouls, it felt like, for like the entire second half, and they never attacked him. Oh, is that the dude who's going to kill us in the end? Yes. Should we attack him? No. Joey Muzz is like, oh, bros, I've got to go wash the town real quick, so fucking yous can call like your own timeout, say. That's not how it works, Joey Muzz. Oh, love you, Jason. Jason, I fucking love you, man. Tatum missed a potential game-winning 3. Kuminga bodied him. God, that was a good possession at the end of regulation. But there was a Celtics possession with, 1 minute to go where they had 4 cracks at it and never scored. Brown misses a wide-open layup that would have given them the lead at the end of it. You had White, who was awesome in this game, miss a couple of open threes. You had Tatum miss that first 3. And, yeah, this was a shit show. A shit show of epic proportions. I love overreacting to one game. You know me. And this is a great overreaction game because you're like, see, the Celtics, every time they get in a tight spot, they'll shit down their pants. And to be honest, you're not wrong. Chris Paul missed a 3, and you're like, the Celtics should probably still win this. But no. Absolute schmozzle. Then Steph hits that massive fucking rainbow 3 with 10 seconds left in overtime to put them back up for 9-9 Celtics. How do you not attack the rim against a team with no center? Oh, but Jim, they had Trace Jackson Davis. You mean the Trace Jackson Davis who was the 57th pick in last year's draft? That guy who's 6'9". Oh, yeah, we just had to avoid him a bit, eh? Do you reckon Joey Muzz learned that from the town? What the fuck? Anyway, For the Celtics, Tatum was absolutely horrible. 15 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 5 of 17. Felt like he was short-arming every 3. 2 of 9 from downtown. Al Horford had 13, 12, and 6. Oh, Jim, that's a good game. 4 of 14. Al Horford shot. 3 of 10 from downtown. He hit like a massive corner 3 late. You're like, aha, he found it. But he'd missed the couple before that, and you're like, Jesus. Drew Holiday had a rough one on offense, but he did a pretty good job defensively for most of this game. 13 and 7, 5 of 12 shooting for him. Derek White was the star of this one. 7 threes on 18 attempts. Yeesh. 30 points. He shot 11 of 24 overall, Derek White. He was great. You also had 28 points for Jaylen Brown. But again, I don't know how he practices like making layups, dribbling to his left, not giving the other team the ball. He had 4 turnovers. He had 7 assists. He shot 10 of 22. He went 1 of 4 from deep. Misses the game-tying the go-ahead layup at the end of that 4-possession break for the Celtics. And you're like, dude, just hit a layup sometimes. Tatum missed one later as well, so they're both to blame. The bench, yeah, Quetta. He had 10 and 10. You had 11 for Pritchard. He had 3 threes. But Sam Hauser, he's going to pop up again in a second. He was not great. And, it felt like the impunity with which to shoot threes and just like, I don't know, Sam Hauser, I know that's your game, but sometimes you can do something that's just not launch a 3 that's contested. Shea Brissett, I still reckon we need to see more of him if you're a Celtics fan. And 17 to 58 from downtown from the Celtics. That's so many attempts. It's so silly. The Warriors, 33 for Steph. He was awesome. Quiet at times, then would sort of just get on these little rolls. 33 and 6 assists, 4 turnovers, 6 of 11 from downtown, 6 of 15 for Clay. He ends up with 24, 4 and 4. Podziemski hurt his hip. He was out. He had 5 points, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 8 of 13 shooting for Cumbucket. Johnny Kuminga, he was big. This is the game where you're like, go on, Cumbucket, give him help. And he did. The homie Dario Saric had 11 and 6. He had 10 and 13 for Trace Jackson Davis, 10 for Moses Moody. Chris Paul, 12 assists, 7 rebounds, 9 points, 4 of 12 shooting. Yeesh. Point God. Either way, Celtics dropped to 20 and 6. Warriors now 13 and 14. That is a kick in the dick for the Celtics of epic proportions. All right, let's do an NBA Straya proof performance of the night.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
It's Ja Morant, 34, 6 and 8, his first game back. I love that stat where they whipped it out on TV. Ja Morant's point total is the most in NBA history by a player coming back from an absence of at least 25 games. You reckon? It's amazing. 34, 6 and 7, 27 points in the second half, 14 in the fourth. As I mentioned, break it down the stretch. He was fucking incredible. Just relentless. And God, it's fun to have him back. I'll talk about that again in a second. But just giving his own team just that shot of confidence of like, just give the ball to Ja. Remember? He's awesome. He's like a top 10 player. MVP candidate most of the time. 34, 6 and 8. He was unreal. As mentioned, the 3-ball wasn't dropping, but that was kind of a testament to his like just relentless fucking nature. He's like, so my 3s aren't hitting. He still ended up shooting 12 of 24. So he goes 12 of 19 inside the 3-point line. 10 of 12 from the free throw line too. So 5 turnovers, bit of a rough one, but he was a plus 12 in a game they won by 2. And of course, he hit the fucking game winner. He's Ja Morant. That was sick. Bang, bang. Quick to Instagram. And of course, that's not a knife. The NBA Straya approved a performance of the night. It's Steph Curry. Just that rainbow 3. It's just, he's inevitable. Inevitable, especially when he plays the Celtics, which is fucking hilarious. Who was Spud of the night?
Spud. It is Spud of the night.
I mentioned we had a couple of spuds already. Sam Hauser goes 0 of 7 from the floor, including 0 of 6 from 3. Paddy Connaughton was 1 of 8, including 1 of 6 from downtown. But 41 missed 3-pointers by the Boston Celtics. Just think about that. Oh, Jim, they hit 17 threes in that game. Yeah, on 58 attempts. Oh, I'm no math magician, but 41 missed threes is fucking heaps. Just think about those from just a meta point of view. 41 shot attempts, missed threes. It just breaks your fucking brain sometimes, doesn't it? But Tatum as well. I just want to give him a special usually Spud of the night is the bloke who sort of just has a bit of a rough shooting night. It all goes pear-shaped and it's like, oh, fucking hell, man, I can't get out of my own road, obviously, Eric Gordon and Jordan Goodwin, the one of 7s, 2 of 14 is always just going to be pretty brutal if your bench is doing that. But Tatum going 5 of 17, I mean, how many times do you want to come up small against the Warriors or in big spots? This is a dude who's got 51 in a game 7. But I find it fascinating how it's like, oh, it's a massive spot. Can you deliver? And he's like, maybe. Or maybe I'll just be a big Spud. Let's find out. It's like, God damn it. Anyway, old mate, no mates.
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 Who's got no mates today? Look, every time the Suns lose, I do just think about Kevin Durant getting back on that team bus and going, I know it's warm in Arizona, but why did I leave Brooklyn? I remember I was angry. I remember Kyrie had asked for a trade because he's a fucking idiot. James had already pissed off. How is this demonstrably better? They lost to Portland. KD's just got to old mate, no mates. Yeah, he's got no mates on that team. He's like, Devin Booker, mate, can you hit a 3? And he's like, no, not today, buddy. 1 of 5. How's that sound? He's like, that's probably not going to be enough. Booker is very, very good. I understand. I love Devin Booker. I love the way his herky-jerky sort of game rolls. It's just the rest of this team, it never feels like there's any sort of fucking vague sense of coherency about what they do, right? It's just 5 of 23 from downtown. You've got Grayson Allen on your team. You've got Devin Booker. You've got Kevin Durant. You've got Eric Gordon. You've got dudes who can shoot threes. It's fucking weird that they don't either take more or hit more. So Kevin Durant, talk about old mate, no mates. You know that he's getting back on that team bus, sitting by himself going, fuck all y'all. Pantsing of the night. I did enjoy the absolute whip. Desmond Bane got put on skates by Spindles Ingram. It was very, very much a moment. It was just you literally could have put Looney Tunes music under it. That's how badly got put on skates. Whip, 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 whip. But my favorite one was probably Trace Jackson Davis just deleting a Jaylen Brown rim shot. It's like, nope. It's like Trace Jackson Davis just turned into fucking Bill Russell. What just happened? Speaking of which,
Lonzo was the best player in high school. He was the best player in college. You think he'll get to the pros and be like, I made it to the pros, now I can be average. We're coming for everybody.
Coming for everybody. Better than Lonzo Ball today, a.k.a. better than James Wiseman. Trace Jackson Davis tonight, 10 points, 13 rebounds, 3 blocks. He shot 5 of 6. First career double-double. He was a plus 23. That's a team high. Better than James Wiseman, the number 2 pick. Bloody hell. Who's not even on the team anymore. That's incredible. Trace Jackson Davis, you legend. That was a fucking absolute better than Lonzo Ball, better than James Wiseman, better than Ben Simmons showing today. He was bloody good. I'll tell you that much. All right. There we go. Let's see if there's a Magic tweet of the day. I don't know if Magic actually tweeted. I didn't see anything pop up. I do have him now on Twitter alerts, so that's good. So I'm not going to miss it, but either way. Nah, nothing there from Magic. All right, let's go do some yeah-nahs right after this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Kadee.
This is Darryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA
And you're listening to
Straya.
NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, now it's brought to you by the NBA Straya Shop. Get your merch.
Get your merch, get your merch.
Wear it.
Get your merch, get your merch. Get Get your merch, get your merch.
Get your merch, get your merch. I am taping this one for video, so I'm going to bang this up on YouTube. I was going to go, I'll show a fucking one of the bloody coffee mugs, but they're in a big box behind me, and they're all in like little individual boxes. It's taking me fucking 20 minutes to break one open. Anyway, so either way, we do have coffee mugs. We've got the stubby holders. We'll pair them up in a easy to buy sort of package, but go check them out. They're very nice. They're really good quality. And you can buy a t-shirt, you can buy a hoodie. Get right around the NBA Straya shop, nbastraya.com/shop, or just click through on the socials. Very pretty pictures there. I did all the pictures myself, man. Yeah, you can definitely tell. Anyway, go do it. nbastraya.com/shop, or click through the socials. Help a brother out. Right, let's do some Yanars. Corey F. Got a lot of time for Corey F. Hey, Jim. I heard a rumor of a possible trade that could happen soon that claims to suit both teams. Josh Green to Detroit for beef stew. Apparently Dallas needs a big, and my dog shit Pistons need wings, and any other help we can get. What's your thoughts? Yeah, nah. Look, it does feel like that's a good spot for Greeny to have a bit of a shine in Detroit, but I feel like Greeny's probably like the least of the Dallas Mavericks problems, right? It feels like that's the sort of dude, like Hardaway's probably the first dude you need to bump off and just go, right, you've got a really big contract. We need one more serviceable big because we've got Lively who's injured. We've got basically the sort of weird Powell, Maxi Kleber triumvirate who just aren't bigs essentially. I'll tell you what, Jock Landale is still one of my favorite sort of fucking landing spots. Dallas would be great. We just start the Boomers on the Mavs. That'd be fucking awesome. Because I think, look, Exum has proven that between he and Greeny, you could almost get, like, cobbled together, like, plenty of offense. You've got Seth Curry there as well. You've just got a couple of scoring guards. You've got Jaden Hardy as well, right? It feels like Hardaway Jr., a.k.a. Hardaway the Lesser, feels extraneous. And if you're going to go get a big like beef stew, it'd kind of work. And I'll tell you what, Detroit could probably actually use someone like Hardaway the Lesser just to get some fucking buckets and not be shit. Like Livers. God, he's bad. But Greeny for beef stew, it's the sort of thing where, yeah, you got to give up something to get something. I feel like Dallas's almost non-existent defense as well would probably take a pretty big hit if you had to sacrifice Greeny as well, right? Because he's one of your better wing defenders, if not one of your only wing defenders. Because I feel like Dallas needs to be adding the likes of like a Dorian Finney-Smith, like those sorts of big-ish kind of wing defenders, as well as a big. It's just like, if you just go through their weird-ass roster, you're like, God, how many shooting guards can we have on this one team? Turns out it's a shit ton. Like, it's really strange. Like, because you got Luka and Kyrie as your starters. You got Greeny as your ostensible starting small forward. But then you've got Sexum up. You've got Hardaway. You've got Derrick Jones Jr. as your current starting small forward. You've got Seth Curry. You've got Jaden Hardy. You've just got a lot of dudes who sort of play the same sort of thing. Markieff Morris, I still don't know why he's on that roster, but either way. Right. So I do like the idea, but I'd rather ship out Hardaway the Lesser if I was Dallas for a big to Detroit. I don't know. Who would you like from Detroit if you're Dallas? Would you like beef stew? Because I feel like Marvin Bagley's just shit, and he doesn't give you that much. There's at least beef stew is like a physical fucking presence, and it does feel like the Mavs need a bit of that. So I don't mind the beef stew one, because I don't know if you're going to pry away Wiseman. Definitely not Jalen Duren. I don't know. Probably beef stew. I'd still look at Charlotte and just kick the tires. I'm like, can we get like, I don't know, Nick Richards, JT Thor? Because Mark Williams is basically like, yeah, he's too good. But the other guys, maybe. Dan Drosher. Bismack Biyombo briefly put his hands on Cody Zeller's hip. And it was called a foul. Dan Drosher sent me a message almost immediately. One of the worst replay reviews I've ever seen. Biyombo does make contact, but it's clearly marginal and not foul-worthy in any way. The replay system is broken if this was upheld. Refs need to just admit when a call is wrong. What the fuck? Yeah, nah, yes. So that was such a weird fucky call, the Biyombo one. It's like, yeah, it's incidental, marginal contact, and it's not a foul. Like, yeah, there's contact, but it's not a fucking foul sometimes. It's fucked. So Dan makes a good point. Breaking my heart. But he also adds, but fuck, how good is it to have Ja back? Yeah, nah, yeah, it's great. This is it. Like, the NBA has got to be just sitting there. Adam Silver, like, you know why Adam Silver is just so angry all the time? Why is that, Jim? Why am I so angry? It's because every time they hold someone up new and go, look at this, it's Zion. Isn't he great, kids? And all the kids are like, yeah. And then he goes and bangs porn stars and gets his dirty laundry aired everywhere. It's like, Anthony Edwards, isn't he good, kids? And they're like, yeah. And then his requests for termination hit the internet. And John Morant's out there going, aren't I fun, kids? And everyone's like, yeah. And he's like, how good are guns, though? And everyone's like, oh, this fucking guy. That's why Adam Silver's so fucking angry. But Ja is an electric presence. Every game that he's in, you forget just how awesome it is. And I fucking love it. Actually, yeah, Corey had another one at the end of his, T-shirt I bought is awesome. Cheers for the bonus stubby holder. We'll be getting a hoodie when it gets cold. Oh, legend. Love that. Matty O, Jim will spend the $25 from my recent mug purchase on the dog or the house renos instead of a 6-pack of tins. Yeah, nah. Well, shit, I got to go pick up the dog's, that was the canine insulin for his fucking diabetes tomorrow or the next day before we go down the fucking coast to the beach for a couple of weeks for my actual holiday. Yeah, so it's probably going to go straight to the dog. I also, the mugs are $25. And you might go, Jesus, that's a fucking rich-ass mug, Jim. It's like, yeah, I think they cost like $22 to make. So, yeah, the margins are pretty slim here at NBA Straya, I'm just saying. Anyway, unpopular opinion of the day.
Now look at me, please. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. I love the Suns as a idea, franchise, historically awesome. I don't know, the colors, all that it evokes. Sava was a dick. Hated him. Hated the way he ran things. And I do love, like, with new owner, with all the sheer enthusiasm they bring, and then, like, the weird fucked up decisions they make. I also kind of think, as I said the other day on that KD karma rant, I 100% believe that this is just, like, the constant basketball gods kicking KD in the dick. Just time after time after time. They're just like, hey, Kevin, look at this. Bang! Kick him in the dick. He's like, what did you do that for? It's like, well, you left OKC in the lurch. You glommed onto a 70 fucking million win team. A team that went 73-9 and you went and jumped on there. And you won 2 titles. You played beautiful basketball. But then you got sick of it because you realized, I might have fucked this one a little bit. It's not my team. It's always going to be Steph's team. Geez, I better go to Brooklyn. Then you fucked that one up. And look, this is just the repercussions. It is really funny how much they're sort of fucking this one up. Just saying. I love the Suns. Love the perp. But wow, it's fucking funny. All right, what about Outback Takeout? I know that other people like, look, Booker and KD, ostensibly there's a good core there. But I mentioned on yesterday's show, right, if Beal misses more time, 2 more weeks at least, by the time he comes back, you've probably got just enough time for one of them to get hurt again. And just to undo everything. So it's weird. They've played 24 fucking minutes together. It's incredible. All right, Outback Takehouse. It's Wednesday at Outback, and you know what that means? I'll tell you what. Wombat stew. That's right, we found one of the buggers down the back of the house, whacked it over the head with a shovel, chucked it in the big stew pot, and bang. Bit gamey, bit rough at times, bit woody. Weirdly enough, chops up into squares just like it's poops. But still, bloody delicious. Wombat stew, only at Outback. And today's Flame Grill take is the only thing that's going to stop the Boston Celtics from winning this year's NBA title is injury or the Golden State Warriors. Only at Outback. Oh, look, well, that means it's probably injury because the Warriors are definitely not going to make the finals. All right, quick break. Back with Australian Player Watch right after this.
This is Matthew Delvedova, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, let's do it. The Strayan Player Watch. Really quick one today because we only had the 3 Aussies in action. I mentioned already the 2 Aussies in the Phoenix-Portland game. We had Aussie Matty T and the Great Barrier Reef. Duop only played 4 minutes. He went 1-1 from the floor. It was a 3. He had 2 rebounds and a steal to go with the turnover. So there was a lot going on in his 4 minutes. And Aussie Matty T in 21 minutes went 2 of 3, all of which were from downtown. 2 of 2 at the line. So he ends up with 8 points. He was a plus 17. He's getting high fives on the bench. They fucking love him there in Portland. I love him too, but 3 steals and a block to go with a rebound. Aussie Matty T, crushing it. The Pelicans be the Pelicans, not the Pelicans. They were the Pelicans today because Ja went brap, brap, brap. Dyson Daniels in 13 minutes. This is the thing. When he's a starter, God, he looks so much better. But he was plus 17 today in 13 minutes in a game they lost by 2. Just saying, 3 points. He went 1 and 2 from the floor, both of which were from downtown. 2 assists and a rebound as well. So there you go. That is the Australian Player Watch. Let's do a great moment in NBA Straya. Stat history, however, because that's just fun. Let's do it. Press the button.
Great moments in NBA.
Well, that didn't work. Just going to keep listening to Gaz's band. Right, we'll press that button first, and then we'll press this button.
Great moments in NBA Straya stat history.
There you go. We finally got there in the end. This one is a great moment in NBA Straya stat history because it is the... December was the 1 month that big Luke Longley had a half-decent run of it with the Knicks in his final NBA season. You might remember that. He spent a year in the desert with the Suns, then took had the paycheck there with the Knickerbockers. He had his second ever highest scoring game as a Knick this week, back in 2000. I want to say that was 1999 by the end of that one. But let's check that because it was the 22nd of December. That was in 2000, yeah. The 2000-2001 season he was with the Knicks. So 22nd of December 2000. Shit. I was probably drunk somewhere after, I don't know, finishing year 12. That sounds right. Big Lucian, however, in the 25 games that he played with the Knickerbockers, didn't have too many stellar ones, but he had a good one this week. He had 6 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. That's his second highest scoring game as a Knickerbocker. His highest was 7. And it happened about a week and a half ago. So he had a good run of it in December, and then his ankle was just fucked. So 2 of 4 from the floor, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 5 fouls in 16 minutes, though, did our big man Lucian. So interesting to see that he and Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen are coming back out. So just to talk Bulls. I don't know. How do we feel about those tours? Because I feel like we've already had Longley out. We've already had Pippen out. Pippen doesn't strike me as the most elucidating public speaker. Luke is very good. Horace Grant, I think, is pretty good. It'd be interesting. So I'd like to hear your thoughts. All right, let's do a Patty Mills Game Day Ball Game Day Twitter check-in, though, shall we? Let's do it. Press the button. Press the button at the right time this time. Good job, me. Yeah, not bad. Fucking hell. Jock Landale, here we go. We've got a new story from Rock and Blockham. Jock, groomsman, 70624. What happens if he makes the NBA Finals? He won't be able to be the groomsman. Oh, unless it's like the 6th of July. And it's an American mate of his that's doing some fuck around. And then there's he's playing a game of Monopoly in black and white. It's very arty, Jock. He was in the news as well. Sam Newman's son is like suing him for millions of dollars for a fight that apparently happened at Geelong Grammar, which is pretty funny. I could have made millions in my AFL career. I don't know. Could you? See where that goes. All right, let's do some game previews for tomorrow. Game previews. Thanks, Inadvertent Bane. Not a problem, Jim. How'd you go on the picks today? We went 1 of 4. And the only one we got right was the fucking Spurs because every underdog covered today. Memphis obviously covered the -6.5. The Spurs covered the -16.5. The Portland Trailblazers won outright and covered 7.5. And the Golden State Warriors covered their 5.5. So it doesn't happen very often, but that was pretty cool. Tomorrow, though, we have 10 games, so this will be interesting. Utah at Cleveland. I'm going to go Cleveland -6.5. Donnie Mitchell against his old team. Should be pretty fun. Lowry, Sex Man. I actually don't mind Utah in this. Cleveland, it feels like oily rag vibes, but I think Cleveland probably win this, but I reckon Utah can push them. 6.5 point line. It does seem a bit squirrely. Markkanen, Jared Allen. I kind of like the Jazz. +6.5. The Jazz have played pretty tough. They played pretty well against the Nets the other day. If you've got to fight up Sexman and Larry, that's a girl's name, Markkanen against their old teams, versus Donnie Mitchell going against his old team, George Niang against his old team, it sort of balances out. There's a lot of bad blood. Now we got bad blood. That's an interesting one. 6.5. I'm going to go Utah. I think this could be pretty close. Speaking of closer, Battle of Florida. Miami go to Atlanta. No, Miami go to Atlanta. Miami go to Orlando. I'm going to take the Orlando Magic Men -5.5 in this one. Actually, that's not a boo. That's a tricky one too. I might go Miami +5.5, actually, now that I think about that. They've got Tyler, there goes my hero back. Bam's back. They're basically kind of at half-decent strength. 5.5 is a lot to get that. It's just up the road there in Orlando. Let's go Miami, +5.5. Charlotte, +10.5 in Indy. I think Indy blow the doors off Charlotte. Indy have looked very up and down of late. 10.5 is a big number, though. Oh, Charlotte will have Miles Bridges in this one. Maybe, just maybe, they can keep up. I don't think so. They got fucking demolished by the Raptors the other day. Give me Indy -10.5. Minnesota go to Philly. I think Minnesota have got enough size to hang with Philly. Wouldn't be surprised if they actually beat them. The Sixers losing that game against Chicago the other day was a bit of a, that's not great. With Ant-Man sort of flying around, Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert to throw at Embiid. Let's go the Wolves. That's fun as hell. Minnesota +2.5 in Philly. The Knicks versus Brooklyn. It's a battle of the boroughs. Not if you really ask any Knicks players. Oh, fucking hey, man. Brooklyn is shit, though. It's like, I mean, yes. Yes, there are usually more Knicks fans at these games, but still. I'm going to go Brooklyn +1.5. I think they've just got a lot of wings that they can throw at that Knicks team. At home, they might be able to sneak that one out. Denver -4.5 in Toronto. The Raptors, I mean, I've talked about it time and time again. They are an enigma, a riddle wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a box of shit that's been thrown into the sea. So I don't know what the fuck is going on there. Denver, behind Joker, behind Jam and Jamal Murray, Aaron Air Gordon, they should have enough. So give me Denver -4.5 in Canada. Atlanta go to Houston. The Rockets are really good at home. I'm going to take the Rockets -4.5. Ime Udoka and Dylan Brooks are going to be pissed off. They're going to try to crush Atlanta. Give me Houston -4.5. The only thing that gives me pause about that is Jalen Green has just been struggle town. Chicago host the Lakers. Hey, it's a replay of the 1991 NBA Finals. That's fun as hell. Lakers -4.5 in Chicago. I might have to go the Bulls +4.5. The way Kobe White, Vooch, and DeMar DeRozan and co are actually playing. You know that DeMar will be showing out for, hey, Lakers, trade for me. That'd be great. I like the Bulls at home, +4.5. Clippers -3.5 in Dallas. Dallas are just too injured at the moment to really back them, even at home. The Clippers are playing really, really well. They've got enough wings that they can throw at Luka. We've seen them give the Mavs and Luka plenty of trouble in the past. He's also gone off, but I think the Clippers are just playing really, really well. Give me the Clippers -3.5. Then Boston on a back-to-back go to Sacramento. They'll presumably have the Extreme Zinger Meal back. The Kings are 1.5 point favorites. I think Boston can win this on a back-to-back. The Kings, their point of attack defense will be fascinating for Boston going up against De'Aaron Fox. On a back-to-back, we saw Derek White tear it up today. You've got Drew Holiday. They should be able to slow down Fox. It'd be interesting to see if that bench mob of the Kings, though, like Malik Monk and co, actually put a bit of a hurt on them. Keegan Murray, the Souvlaki King against Kristaps Porzingis. I think Boston can probably pull that one off. So give me Boston +1.5 in Sacramento. There you go. That's a big, fun slate tomorrow. That'll be fun as. So we'll be back to wrap it all up for you. Hey, there you go. In the meantime, make sure you're following NBA Straya on Twitter, Facey IG. We're all over the socials. You know that. Get around NFL Straya with myself and Gaz. It was a fun show this week. Gaz up in Sydney. hanging out. Get around Cricket Today, the Cricket Today podcast and the Football Today podcast as well. If you're into cricket and if you're into soccer, they are the one-stop shops, all that you need. Get right around them. Jump on the socials as well for you. So, yeah, enjoy that. Check us a rating review for all those shows on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, whatever app you're using the Android phone. It does help out. Please get it right around all the shows that we do. Also, buy some merch. NBAstraya.com/shop. Get your merch. Get one of the coffee mugs. They are bloody good. What else? Big thanks go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song. Check out the new band House Hats, as well as Joshua Dillarentis, Fascinated, Gold Mines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Sex Jedi, Green, and Dozers. They're behind all the tunes you hear throughout the show. Smash them all on Bandcamp, Triple J and Earth, Facey, Apple Music, Spotify. Remember, NBA Straya supports Australian bands, so should you. All right, that's it. No skit because I've got to skedaddle and look after the squids. So we will catch you tomorrow, you dickheads. This is NBA Straya saying, look after yourselves, would ya? And later, hosen.
Man, that's Great Hill. Great Hill drinks Sprite? Great Hill drinks Sprite.